Patterns are everywhere in nature, but most kids need help noticing them. They may already be seeing them. They just don't always realize what they're noticing or have the words to describe it. Hi, I'm Tina from Little Monsters Universe, and I share simple, practical ways to help kids explore, observe, and think like scientists. Patterns are things that repeat or change in a predictable way. And once kids start to notice patterns, they begin to make connections, ask better questions, and start to make sense of what's happening around them. A lot of times, kids are already noticing patterns without even realizing it. They might notice that it gets colder around the same time each year, or that the moon has different shapes that repeat again and again, or that certain flowers bloom at the same time every year as well. What we could do as adults is help bring that awareness to the surface. We can name it. We can say, this is a pattern. And that simple step helps build their vocabulary and gives them a way to talk about what they're observing. And this doesn't have to be complicated. It could be as simple as going for a short walk and asking things like, what do you notice today? What's different from yesterday? What seems to happen again and again? You can keep a simple notebook, take pictures, or just have conversations. The goal isn't to track everything perfectly. It's just to start noticing. For younger kids, like kindergarten through second grade, the focus is really on noticing and naming patterns. You might ask them to notice how the leaves change color in the fall, or how certain flowers bloom every spring. You could count the number of petals on different flowers and notice if there's a pattern in the numbers. Or watch the moon over a month or two and notice its shape changing. At this age, it's all about simple observation and naming what they see to help build their vocabulary. For kids in 3rd through 5th grade, you can start to go deeper. For example, they could track the weather over a few weeks. Are there patterns to when it rains? Why do they think it rains more in certain seasons? They could look at animal behaviors. Why do birds migrate at certain times of year? Or why do squirrels gather nuts in the fall? This is where kids can start to explore why the patterns happen and even predict what might happen next. In middle school, patterns become a tool for analysis. For example, students might look at data, maybe temperature changes over several months, and then look for patterns to explain climate trends. Or they might study patterns in ecosystems, investigating why certain plants or animals appear together. At this stage, patterns are used as evidence to explain bigger ideas and support reasoning. You can check in the description of this video for a quick guide with examples that you can try at home for each age group. This is why patterns are such an important starting point. They help kids move from just seeing the world to making sense of it. And this is one of the key ways scientists think. In my last video, I introduced the term cross-cutting concepts, which are the big ideas that help students make sense of the world around them. And patterns are just one of those major cross-cutting concepts. They help students notice connections, ask questions, and start thinking more deeply about science. When we take a moment to slow down and help kids notice patterns, we're not just teaching them about nature. We're helping them ask questions, make connections, and think like scientists. If you'd like more simple ways to support your child's learning, make sure to follow along. I'll be sharing more in this series.